Hi, welcome to Books with Lexi. In this video, I'm going to be reading 3 thrillers from Book of the Month. I really love Book of the Month. I get a lot of my thrillers from them. I love the price that you can get for hardcover books. And the genre that I get the most from Book of the Month is thriller. So I wanted to do a vlog where I read some of them. This could be helpful if you're interested in joining Book of the Month. It could be helpful if you have Book of the Month and you're looking for books to add on. And it could just be general entertainment. So the 3 thrillers I'm going to be reading are All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I have previously read from Stacey Willingham and enjoyed it. Julia Bartz is a debut author. I've read from her sister, and Kate Alice Marshall has books out, but I have not read any. So I'm really looking forward to reading all of these books. I will be starting with All the Dangerous Things. Hello, welcome to this odd angle because I'm lazy and don't feel like getting my little stand. I am 40% into All the Dangerous Things, and I'm really liking it. There's a lot of interesting conversations in here on true crime as like a source of enjoyment, which is interesting. Bowser, I'm watching you. So we are following a woman who a year ago her son was taken out of his crib in the middle of the night, and it is the anniversary and she is still dealing with the grief of that. She's not sleeping at all. She's doing these like talks at true crime conventions to try to get attention for her son, and she ends up coming in contact with this guy who is a podcast host. So that's where a lot of the conversations are coming in that have to do with true crime and like the enjoyment of it, which I'm really appreciating because I have like weird feelings about true crime in general. Like it just feels weird to me to get enjoyment out of something like so horrific personally. So I'm really liking that in here. I feel like we're not getting a whole lot of the mystery yet, but also I don't have any issues with it. Like I'm really liking it. Let me check before I say something dumb. Okay, yeah, we are getting 2 different timelines, and one of them is in the past in like the beginning of her relationship with her husband, and I don't really know why we're supposed to care about that because I personally don't care about him, but I guess it's gonna be relevant. Don't know how, but I'm interested. Bowser's excited. Like I'm assuming it's gonna be relevant, but I don't know what I was saying. No.
Hold on, I'll go upstairs while you.
I'm almost done.
Wait.
I don't know what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna film up there.
Anyway, no thoughts. I was distracted. I don't care as much about the backstory, but I'm sure it'll be relevant. And I want a little bit more of, I guess, an investigation, but we're still getting backstory that's interesting enough that I'm not bothered by it. So I am very much enjoying this one. So this is the Pyramid Book Club pick for February, and by the time you see this, the live show will be up, so I'll have that linked if you want spoiler-filled thoughts from me, Michelle, and Monica. But yeah, I don't know if I'll talk to you again until I finish because I'm already 40% in. Also, Sav is here, and it's kind of odd to vlog in front of people, but not as terrible because she like also vlogs. Anyway, I'm rambling. I will shut up and I'm going to keep reading and I'll talk to you later. You're getting all the fun angles today. I'm 64% into All the Dangerous Things. I only have a little over an hour left at my listening speed, so I will definitely be able to finish this soon, which is good because it is Thursday, but Sav is here and Katrina's coming tomorrow, so I won't have a whole lot of time to read, so I think I'm going to read a tiny bit more before going to bed or when I wake up. I plan on taking Bowser on a WALK in the morning. I don't want him to hear me now. So I'll be able to listen to some more of it then. He moved, I thought he heard me. But yeah, this is really good. I am slightly liking it more than A Flicker in the Dark, and I gave A Flicker in the Dark 4 stars. I don't think it's like a huge improvement, but like I liked her first one, so. There's been some fun twists in here. I've heard that there's some more. I think that certain things are too obvious, so that's not going to be the case. But there's been like some very interesting things happening. I wouldn't say they were shocking, but like certain reveals were not expected. So I'm gonna finish this. I'm having a really good time reading it. I feel like this could end up being 5 stars depending on how it goes. It's not a 5-star that is going to be an all-time favorite 5-star. So I know that's confusing to some people with how I rate, I guess. But I'm having a really good time. Can you hear Bowser snoring? Okay, I'm gonna go maybe read, maybe go to bed. I'll talk to you when I'm done. I finished All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, and I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think that this had a lot of really great discussions in it. I think it talked about a lot of interesting things with being a mother and the expectations on women. I think that even as someone who is not a mother, a lot of it was still really relevant. It dealt a lot with the pressures that are put on women to be mothers and the expectations that go with that. And like it was something that I could relate to without being a mother as well. I think there were a lot of like feminist ideas in here without it like being in your face. I thought it was integrated really well and I really liked that. I just think that this kind of story inherently is not 5 stars for me because it wasn't like super unique and it was pretty domestic. And for a domestic thriller, I thought this was great, but generally it's just not my favorite thing. So I would absolutely recommend this. I will have the live show for the Pyramid Book Club discussion for this linked in the description. Everyone generally liked this one. We talked about it for a while and I thought it was a good time. I am 30-ish% into The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I can't tell if I like this cover or not. I like this little like page thing. I wonder if that is a page in the book. I should look. But like this color is a lot. Anyway, that is not the point of what I'm here to talk to you about. So we are following our main character, Alex, and she is someone who used to want to be a writer, but now she's been experiencing writer's block because there was this fallout with her and her friend, Ren. And then Alex finds herself in a situation where she can go to this writing retreat hosted by her favorite author. This is a month-long writing retreat at the author's house, and she is known for writing feminist horror. So there are a couple different characters. There's maybe 5 or 6 characters who are at this writing retreat. So we have Rosa, and then we have Alex and Ren, and then I think there's 3 or 4 other characters. So Ren and Alex had a falling out. We don't know why at the beginning. It is something that you learn somewhat early on. So that's not the main like mystery of everything, which I'm glad because I don't really tend to like books that the whole plot hinges on you just like not knowing a tiny bit of backstory. So they find out that during this writing retreat, they all have to write a brand new novel from scratch. They have to start with a new concept. And they're on a super strict schedule. If they don't keep up with it, they have to leave. So they have to write a certain amount of words per day by a certain amount of time. They have to do some editing for other stuff. It's like a whole thing. So that's pretty much where I am right now. I do know, based on the synopsis and the cover, that there is an impending snowstorm coming. The mansion that they're in right now, there's no service, there's no Wi-Fi already, so it's already pretty isolated. And then adding that on top of it is going to be really interesting. The house that they are in has some creepy vibes. This house is possibly haunted, and this does have the 1-by-1 trope in it. So, like, this is a lot of my favorite things. I really like the 1-by-1 trope. I really like isolation, but I feel like recently I haven't found, like, my perfect book doing these things. And usually it's because I'm not liking the writing or the setup, but I'm really liking the setup for this. There's enough interesting things happening in the present storyline and then also the past storyline that we're learning about that I'm interested at all times. It feels very ominous with like the creepy house and this reclusive horror writer who kind of gives off weird vibes. So I'm very much enjoying this. I'm glad that I picked it up. I heard this gets nuts, and I'm here for that. I love a ridiculous thriller, so I really hope that's what happens. So I'm going to keep reading, and I will update you later. I'm a little under 75% in the writing retreat. I am flying through this. I ended up staying up way later than planned because I was listening to the audiobook, and I had to make myself stop so that I could give you another update before I finished. There are a lot of things going on in this book. There's a lot of weird things. There's a lot of things that I was not expecting. And I mean this all in the very best way. Warning for a lot of sexual content in this, which is fine with me, but like it's a lot for a thriller. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, I was not expecting the direction that this would go in. I don't even know how to talk about this because it is so weird, but I am liking a lot of discussions that are in this book. There's a lot of comments on the publishing industry and just being a woman in general. I really cannot wait to see how this ends because I've heard it gets nuts and I feel like it's already pretty unhinged for a thriller. So I'm gonna finish. I'll talk to you later today. This book is so ridiculous. It is completely over the top and I absolutely loved it. I had the best time with this. This is such a 5-star for enjoyment for me, and that is how I rate books. I had such a good time with this. There were so many things that happened that, like, oh my god, it's unhinged. It truly is. And like I mean that in the very best way. There were some really interesting things that happened in here. I really did like a lot of the commentary in here as well. I think the ending was really fun too. As it goes with thrillers, the main character we're following is not great, and I love getting the aspects of that are like thrown in to remind you that she's not great as a person. Generally, A plus, a great time. I had so much fun with this. I would not recommend this if you don't like over the top things, but if you do, I think you'll really like this. I'm kind of sad it's over, honestly. I'm trying to remember what books I've given 5 stars this year, and I'm pretty sure this is my favorite 2023 release. I don't know if I've given another thriller 5 stars this year. I really have only given a few things 5 stars, which is really sad for me because I usually give out 5 stars pretty easily, but I think all of my 5 stars have been to horror this year. So, great job, Julia Bartz. I will 100% read from her again. Highly recommend this if you like over the top stuff. I personally had an incredible time with it. So now I'm going to read What Lies in the Woods. I have started What Lies in the Woods. I'm now 35-ish% in. I cannot remember specifics. And so far I'm liking it. It's not super fast paced, but it's interesting enough to keep my attention. So we are following Naomi, and 22 years in the past, her and her friends escaped a serial killer. They ended up putting him in jail based on their like eyewitness testimony, but apparently they're keeping some secrets. We know that they were lying about some things and keeping secrets to themselves. Our main character, Naomi, was almost killed. She was stabbed multiple times and like left in the woods to die. And her two friends got away, and they claim that they saw the guy that was put in jail, but our main character never saw him, but still testified that she did. So at the very beginning, the guy that was put in jail ends up dying, and she finds a letter at her father's house from the convicted killer's son saying, "I know you lied. I can't believe you did this," pretty much. So one of the friends wants to like bring the secret about like some things that they were doing when they were kids like to light. They played this game called the Goddess Game, and that is going to have something to do with everything. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to tie in. I know some things, and it's quite the secret that they're keeping. So I'm intrigued, but I'm not obsessed with it. The premise feels pretty unique. It feels more like whimsical in a way because of this like fantasy type game that they're playing in the past. But then in the present day, our main character kind of wants to reveal things. The one definitely wants to reveal things, and then the other definitely does not. There's also this guy there who is investigating a little bit because he runs a podcast. So he has become like a somewhat prominent character. Her dad's a hoarder. I don't know if that's going to come into play. But yeah, our main character lives a very messy life because she hasn't dealt with a lot of trauma from her past. So that's what's happening so far. There was like a big thing that just happened, which I'm not surprised about. So I'm interested to see how everything ends up tying together because it is so like whimsical based, I guess. I don't know. I am liking it though, so I will talk to you once I'm 2/3 in. I'm 67% in. Honestly, I don't have a lot of thoughts. I think this feels very basic for a thriller. Like, nothing has been super shocking. I think I generally know where things are going and what the twists are going to be. So this is a very short update because like my rating between 3 or 4 stars just will end up being determined by how this ends. I finished What Lies in the Woods, and I did like this one. I think I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars. I finished this a couple days ago, and I haven't really decided how I feel about it yet. I think that this one, the setup felt pretty unique, and I was enjoying it for a while. This one is fairly slow, but because it's a little different from a lot of thrillers that I've read, I was fine with it being slow. This ended up not being a favorite for me because it felt very standard to me. I think that a lot of the reveals were not, I don't know. It's really hard because I don't need books to shock me to like them. This is like a hard conversation because I don't need a book to shock me for me to like it. But I think because this was more slower paced, I ended up not loving it and like being super invested. So the twists, even though I think they were done well and I don't have any problems with them, I wasn't invested enough in anything to like care about the twists that much. I I don't know how to explain this. I have liked books, like I've loved books where I've guessed the twists, and sometimes that's not the case, and I think I have to be super invested for me to not mind if I don't guess the twist. I think that makes the most sense out of all the ways I've tried to explain this already. So that's what this fell into. I wasn't super invested in anything. I wasn't super invested in the characters, even though I did like the backstory and how this like mythology was kind of worked into it with them when they were kids. But like generally, this was just a fine thriller. I think this is a really good starting place. If you haven't read a lot, I would recommend it. If you have read a lot, I still think that it's a good time. It just like wasn't anything that I have thought about since finishing or will probably ever think about ever again. But I think 3.5 feels right for this. So this vlog was really successful actually. I started it off with All the Dangerous Things and I gave it 4 stars. And then the writing retreat was 5 stars for me. This is one of my favorite books of the year so far. And then I did like What Lies in the Woods, but it was 3.5 stars, but like I still liked it. So I think all of these were a success. I'm glad that I read them all. I will be reading from all 3 of these authors in the future, even though I've only read from Stacey Willingham before this. I will be meeting Julia Bart soon at a book festival thing, so I'm really excited for that. So yes, very glad I read these. And obviously I will continue buying thrillers from Book of the Month because I end up at least usually enjoying them and you can't beat their price. Just a reminder, I do have a link in the description if you're interested in joining Book of the Month. I'd love to know what your favorite thriller that Book of the Month offers has been, or just your favorite book that you've gotten from Book of the Month. If you're looking to find me in other places on the internet, everything is linked in the description, including my Bookstagram, my Storygraph, and my Patreon. Also, there's information for my readathon happening in May. I just got the merch in, and it is a team-based competitive readathon based around escaping a haunted house, but you can read any genre to participate. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!